action. I think people have seen at least a tweet from mine or the sports that you're talking about. So let me ask you, and by the way, I just want to say, I feel the exact same way 2 days later. I just want to throw that out there. What do you think of this?
Okay, so like, initially I spoke to a couple of college coaches that have known Matt. They know Matt at a time that you have to motivate him in that way to really dig through the tough times. So, right, he'll answer the call, if you push him. So maybe in the training room, only Robert Drysdale, his coaches see him in those scenarios to know how they motivate him to get through tough times. And then I was talking to my friend, he'll tell you, in your life, our coaches make it and push him. One, you would have never gotten to yourself. You would have never ever made weight anything. Wrestling or mixed martial arts. The coaches had to stay on you and push you to do that. So I feel like it was excessive. Like when the guy's like, no, I don't have it. I don't want to do this. I feel like it was excessive and maybe but I also see from Robert's side a little bit. I know this kid can live with me. I know what I have to do. I think that I know is a little bit much because I think that he has a relationship with that. Knows it much better than any of us.
Get in there.
What? How did you
Or are you doing what Drysdale did?
I think initially I would probably do exactly what Drysdale did.
Initially, but in the end.
In the end, I might start, when we're at 15 seconds in, and the guy's like, I don't want to do this no more. I'm hoping that in another 30 seconds of rest, he's ready to go. So I'm trying to lead him down the path.
Thank you.
But 45, 50 seconds in, and I'm happy to get that kid off the stool. I probably. Up until Wednesday, I think that has to try to make these decisions so that your athlete doesn't have to lay in bed the next day going, oh, I shouldn't have did that. Because guess who's going to suffer in this more than anybody? You know who, right?
Yeah, Max.
Max.
Yeah.
Bad. And also, I feel like because he did that, he opened the door that's now available.
Lost.
You never give yourself that option as an athlete to. I mean, I don't like using the word quit, man, because I don't want to say the kid quit, but he stopped his own fight. You never want to open that door for that to be an option. Maybe at about 45, 50 seconds, I would have said it. But I would have given Robert later. I would have gotta get out there. Because you know that he's gonna have to deal with it. I can talk about this very well because I was in at the Olympic Games in 08. I'm in that hospital. Coach Schmidt called me in the 23rd hour going, hey, you gotta go wrestle. It's big. It's going to be down the ring. You understand how you don't go out there like that. And I wanted to go wrestle. Eventually they told me I could. I felt it in him when he was saying, because I could hear the concern in his voice. What that actually. And I think that's
those are obviously very cool.
Get in there.
Yeah, spoken like a true non-fighter. What do you know about fighting? You're a weakling, all this stuff. Well, guess what? I'm not a fighter. Everyone knows that. But I know to listen to people, and I believe if someone tells you, especially a fighter in the midst of a fight, 9 times that he wants to be out, that he can't do it anymore, you should listen to that guy. Now, if he says to you, Coach, I don't know if I got any more in me. I'm exhausted. I don't know if I can do this. No, you can do this. You can do this. Start the lead. Let's go. Do X, Y, and Z. Give me a minute. Let's start around this way. Let's level check. Go for it.
Get in there.
You're better than that. Give me a minute. Please don't start turning your right. I'll call the fight.
Got into that corner very specifically, but because of the circumstances of which they're fighting, there was no quiet conversation. I believe the kid was hoping the coach would save him. Sometimes, man, like, and this is me, like, talking as a coach, sometimes you gotta send that guy out there and answer those tough questions. I mean, there are a lot of times where you gotta answer a lot of tough questions about yourself as a fighter. And Robert Drysdale, as a guy that fought and that did jiu-jitsu at the highest level, knows about answering those questions. And I think I would say stopping I wanted to be Spencer's fight to stop, and I know she wasn't getting bludgeoned like Anthony was, but I thought that it was very clear that she wasn't watching that fight, thinking that it was 1-1. Now I'm not trying to cast judgment, but ultimately I was happy the fight to stop because that's what he wanted. And you know, you leave those questions for the end.
I am on
There was a
fire.
moment there where he could have answered really tough questions about himself. He went out there and lost still. He would have felt pretty good about getting out there and getting through that. And I understand the short notice. There are a lot of built-in reasons why
Onwards to victory.
but I know what Robert wants to do. He's asking to answer some tough questions. We all gotta answer tough questions.
Yeah. And I'm not advocating, like, of course coaches are there to motivate and they're there to galvanize and to inspire. I'm not advocating that every time someone runs out, you pull the plug. You know, the guy says it once, all right, fine, you try to convince him otherwise. Same with any other sport, of course, this is a much more dangerous sport. But what I'm saying is, if a guy says it that many times, and that adamantly, like we had a situation 2 years ago, Raquel Pennington in a title fight. This was the first fight of the night, the Austin Hubbard fight, right? First fight of the night, 12-12 the kid is making. This is Raquel Pennington in a title fight against Amanda Nunes, who coincidentally fought on the same card Saturday night. And she said, I'm done. To her coach. Remember that going into the fifth? She said, I'm done. He's like, no way, you're not done. And they trotted her out there, and what happened? She got TKO'd in the fifth. I just feel like if someone says, and look, she's not labeled a quitter. Hardly anyone even remembers that, right?
Yeah,
her reputation
because
was
she went out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, that's the way that's the way it is. She went out there. I just think, for me, ultimately, I just think it's about there's a time in Max Roscoff's life where he had to answer those types of questions, and he didn't. Now it's shown itself in his brand new career, right? Because before, everything was smooth sailing. Look at this. That was probably the first adversity he had to deal with in the fight. And it didn't go in the way that he probably would have hoped for. And look, man, I like Max because Max is friends with Jake Casper, one of my really good buddies. But I just think that I just cannot let that be an option.
Okay, so you brought up the Anthony Smith situation, and there are similarities, but there's also differences. Anthony Smith, he's getting beat up, and we're all saying, hey, coach, corner, throwing the towel, hey, referee, stop the fight. They don't. We come to find out that Anthony has a deal with his corner where he told them, I will fire you if you stop the fight, right? Now, I don't agree with that deal.
But that's his
But here's my stance on it. Let me know if you feel otherwise. And I just want to make clear, I don't think this is one similarity here. Both corners didn't stop the fight. I don't feel like right? Why is it boxing? Even boxing right? Why is it boxing? Like the tournament, the hours, so controversial. Why is it that in that sport it's okay, but in our sport it's viewed as so taboo? I don't get it.
I don't even think that it's okay because Deontay Wilder fired the coach.
Well, he said he was going to, but as of right now, he hasn't. And you see,
get rid of, but like even that though, right? Like if it was okay, that wouldn't be a question because I'm sure the coach has been with Deontay for ever. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe it's not
right? Buddy McGirt does it all the time.
Yeah, it is. When the middle fight, the guy did it because he cared about his afterwards. Like the afterwards now. I think that fighters I just know that if I was getting dominated, I would hope that when it
be okay with it?
I think I would have to. Because ultimately, it's my mom.
Onwards to victory.
And I would hope, but I don't think that I would ever give the impression that I would. And then, also, I hope that
I am at the objective.
I've just never
We
really
must
found
take
myself
it quickly.
in a position. I got beat. I don't know. I just think that it's a very, very difficult situation. And I just think that the blame isn't all on coach there. I think both of them got to take some responsibility after Saturday. You know, there's a point where Coach Drysdale should have said, okay, Max, I got you. There's also a point where you got to get off the stool and go answer those hard questions.
For sure. You played on 5 days notice. at
Yahi
training.
Barambasta
Hey, if you weren't ready for it, you should have taken the fight, right? And I understand it's tough. What's that? Well, exactly. That's what I'm agreeing here. I'm agreeing that part of the blame in general.
Oh god, I still gotta keep Halloween. Back Rockstar. No, yeah, blame. There's a lot of blame.
So what, a byproduct of this they're having a quick win. Feel comfortable saying they won out because they'll be afraid they got cut. But what you think you deserve at least a second chance?
Where are you hearing this? Like, they're cut this? Like, I mean, I just don't think for a second that I don't think they cut this.
I have talked to his team, and there are
Imagination is the essence of
and
discovery.
Dana White has even alluded to that in the press conference that perhaps he doesn't have a home in the UFC. Now, like I said, he did come out and say it. I can't even believe this is a question. I can't even believe this is a discussion.
You don't want to see that, right? From a young kid. That's why I say, hey, why right? Maybe it had to go out. Maybe you would have to go out and get more experience ready for that level. But I think if you do that, you essentially fight right now. You understand? Like, fight right now. But I doubt I think people that are fighting right now in the middle of this quarantine and everything are we even quarantined anymore? Is that still a thing? Like, I mean, is it still a thing? I mean, I'm just asking, like, are we even in quarantine anymore? Like, but
Pandemic. How about this pandemic?
while we're in the midst of this pandemic, I think guys are gonna get a second chance. But I tell you one thing, if I'm running the UFC, I'm looking at Max Rosscar very carefully, and you're looking in that at that next performance, making sure you don't see any of those type. But again, the scary thing about that is Max has now given himself that as an option, and that's bad.
Other people have asked out, and I don't think they are labeled with Twitter. Like I said, I know she went out far. Of course, I know Roberto Duran back in the day, no mod, you know, this whole white thing. No white thing. No, I get it. Why, I just don't understand why there's a stigma, a negative stigma. Like, I just think that
it's hard. Like, it's hard for you to understand, and it's hard for me to explain as a fighter. There's just something.
You view Max differently now?
I don't want to say that because he's a great kid. And he's a kid.
Be honest.
You cannot give yourself that option. I just keep saying that because you cannot give yourself the option. You cannot give yourself the option. Not you cannot give yourself the option. You cannot give yourself the option. That's why you see guys like when they get finished, right? They're going the same way. Like you watch those guys get finished. Look at these guys, when they get finished in fights, always do the exact same posture. Just a different form of quick. You understand what I'm saying? They go out there and they pretend, and they get finished, and they fall down the same way. If you're falling down the same way, you're actually you just didn't. But I do believe that, in this I know it sounds like I'm speaking on both sides of the mouth, right? I don't think as an athlete he should have asked out, but I think when he did, and he made that decision and determination on that many occasions, maybe his coach should have listened.
Nice.
Or he just should have.
He should have, but, you know, dude, like, it's a very weird situation for me right now because you don't, I just don't think you should, I don't think you should.
You don't think I should comment on it?
No, I'm not saying I don't think you should comment on it. That,
Огонь по готовности.
quite But I feel like it's just a different mentality going into the option, and I don't think that I just don't know if you should.
So wait. So just to make clear, I can't criticize, and I'm not criticizing Max.
I'm not saying you can. I'm
I
not
can't
saying
criticize coaches. It's like this whole thing where this holier than thou approach, where how dare you? How dare?
I'm
All
not saying how
is,
dare you. I'm not saying how dare you. I'm not saying you can't say. I'm just saying it's hard to understand what I'm feeling in regards to it because you and I are going to see it differently.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't speak on it. Of course, that's your job. This is why you're in this position. But I just think that you and I will always look at this so much differently.
I'll say this: if you show it to someone, if you show that clip to someone who knows nothing about fighting,
They'll
right?
always say stop the fight.
Right.
They'll always say stop the fight. But like me and a lot of people, Michael Bisping and Dominic Cruz, like most of us won't. You know what I'm saying? Like most
And
of
that's what
us,
makes you special.
That's what makes us. That's what allows us to go in there and do what we've done and have the success that we've had.
And you guys would also never say what Max said.
No, that's
Exactly.
the thing.
That's
right.
the-
So it's like it's a bit of a foreign.
Well, that's the thing. So then maybe you should save the kid from himself, and if he wants out, he shouldn't be there.
It's a foreign thing for me. Yeah, you're really putting me in a bad. Like it's weird, right? Because it's almost like you're making me. It's almost making me like. It's almost making me like almost insult Max, and I don't want to do that. Everybody makes their own decisions, but I just feel for a young kid that's gonna have to deal with it for a long time, and I think that. I think that the coach was in the, like you said, they see things clear. And I think in that moment, he was more in tune with what he's going to have to deal with afterwards.
Right.
What was at stake. And I think that that's why he tried to motivate him to go on.
I'll just say this before we move along, because we could talk about this for hours. I don't think Robert Drysdale's a bad guy. I don't think he wanted the worst. In fact, I think his intentions were good because he was looking out for him the way in which you're saying. I just think if you say it that many times and you're that clear about it, then hey man, we go live to fight another day. We figure this out, and we'll talk about it. That on Monday or whatever the case is. So a crazy situation, especially when it's the first fight of the night. How rare is it that we're talking about the first fight of the night more so than the main event, certainly to lead the show, but that's where we're at right now. Before we move along to Curtis Blades, because I want to get your thoughts on what Curtis Blades did and what he said afterwards, let me tell you about our good friends over at Ancestry. And I need your help here, DC, because my neighbor, Ben Weintraub, told me that I mispronounced one of the names here. So let me just ask you when I get to it, okay? You may be familiar with the major events and battles of World War II, but there are so many more stories to uncover. The skill and bravery of the Tuskegee Airmen. Did I say it correctly?
Tuskegee.
Dang it. I thought I said Tuskegee the last time.
Tuskegee. I mean, you can say it however you want, but it's okay. Tell Ben to just shut up and pay. Hey, tell Ben thanks for listening. Shut up. You're the grammar police. Now let Ariel just do it in the best way that he can.
All right. Well, they are an all African-American squad of fighter pilots, a legendary squad of fighter pilots. Great movie as well back in the day. Lawrence Fishburne. The incredible women who trained to become pilots and mechanics, the Japanese-American battalion that became one of the most decorated units in American history, despite discrimination against Japanese Americans at the time. In honor of the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, Ancestry has just released a U.S. draft card collection from World War II with over 36 million draft cards completed by fighting-age men in the United States across the country during that time, whether they ended up serving or not. There's a great chance that you could find your relatives in this collection, and it can help you learn more about what their lives were like. Uncover your ancestors' personal details in our World War II U.S. draft collection, which shows details like home address, physical description, and more. Extra points to build on. I just read that, and I shouldn't have. Find an... TSD, why you put this here? I'm blaming TSD for that. Why would you? That was like my Ron Burgundy moment.
You're Ron Burgundy, though. You put it in the prompter. Ariel reads it.
Come on, TSD.
The guy
just doesn't even italicize it, doesn't bold it, just writes extra points to build on in the middle. I mean, really? Anyway. Come on. Here I am. I'm flowing right now.
Let me have the ancestry.com. First off, you can't pronounce the Tuskegee. You're reading extra points to build on. Like,
who puts 5 points extra?
If they even stay with us after this, this is just crazy.
Find and honor your ancestors who served in World War II. Get a new take on your ancestors' World War II experience. Find the veterans in your family who rose to the occasion when the world needed them most. Discover your untold stories and more. Head to our URL, ancestry.com/MMA, to start discovering your story today. That's ancestry.com/MMA. As DC yawns during my ad read here.
Bro, I'm laughing because I did that before on Instagram where they'll send me something and I just take the copy and paste and it'll say for DC to post. It'll be like, oh, look like DC copy and paste. You copy and paste.
Hey, I did that yesterday to Chael. Chael yesterday asked me to promote his submission underground, and so I said I'll do it on this condition. If you tweet Ariel beat me in a Sports Center debate, but then he included the if you tweet part in the tweet. But then I told him to delete that and rewrite it. Anyway, thank you to Ancestry. Now, let's talk about heel Curtis Blades. Ooh, Curtis Blades goes in there. He beats up Alexander Volkov, and he pisses off everyone. And he says, you know what? I'm happy I pissed you guys off. I'm the heel now. He pronounces himself as the heel. So
Wait, when did this happen?
Oh, he said it after the fight.
Really?
His lip all cut. Yeah, he said literally, I'm the heel. I'm okay with the criticism. I'm at peace with it. Dana White wasn't happy with the performance. Dana said that he talked a lot of smack before the fight. I didn't really see all that much smack. He put out a tweet which stated, hey, if you guys are looking for a 25-minute stand-up war, you're not going to get it. I'm going to ragdoll this guy. And in the end, that's kind of what he did, at least for the first 3
He
rounds.
didn't ragdoll him. Ragdolling him is like some of the things that I've done to people over the course of my life. That's ragdolling. He took him down and he held him down.
So
Right? He didn't throw him. He didn't slam him. He didn't do any of that stuff. So I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying. Look, Curtis is very direct with his approach to fighting. The Junior Dos Santos knockout was an outlier. That's like not normal for Curtis Blades. Normally he takes you down, he tries to pound you out. You know, he beats you with the ground and pound, and he wins like that. And he tried that with Alexander Volkov, but he couldn't get the damage on it because of the range. So, but you know what? I don't think it was bad. I think what happened was Curtis hit Volkov with a really nice right hand, and Volkov just kind of ate it and went forward. And I think that's when Curtis was like, okay, I'm not striking with this dude at all. I'm gonna take him down.
But wouldn't we be criticizing him right now if he did stand and strike with him for 25 minutes? Like, we all knew how that fight was going to go, especially in the smaller cage. The best game plan would be to try to take him down.
Well, the small cage is great for wrestlers, right?
Exactly.
Less place to run. But yeah, I get it. But you know, it was funny. I was watching the fight and I watched it early, you know, thinking like, because I think very highly of Curtis Blades. I think at some point he's going to be in a UFC heavyweight championship fight. He might become the champion. I just remember being excited about watching him in Volkov, and then 5 seconds in when he took him down, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of these fights. But there were moments where Volkov might have took him down a couple times, if I'm not mistaken. Curtis landed some good shots on the feet. I thought it was okay. I mean, it's just hard, man, when you have a Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos right before, and then those big guys go out there and, you know, they're not as fast. They're kind of lumbering. They're big, and they're just wrestling the whole time. You know, it's I think it was part of the reason the fight had that negative feel to it was because of what we had just watched.
Shane and Josh should have been the main event. I would have taken 2 more rounds of that.
Danny Rubenstein told me that. He said that's why heavyweight shouldn't be main event. You should have put those 2 as the main event.
Well, you can't always say that.
That's what Danny Rubenstein said. He just thinks that a lot of times when the heavyweight, especially after you put something like that as the co-main, it's hard for him to follow.
And by the way, Danny Rubenstein, longtime friend of yours and a manager right now. I don't know if everyone knows him as, you know.
Well, I'm just saying, Danny and I, you know, I'm talking to you right now. You know.
Yeah, we're doing a show also.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
It is kind of weird that there's a camera that always appears behind your shoulder that I keep seeing pop up.
Yeah.
Does this mean that my tweets are going to make the broadcast too now?
Your tweets will never make the broadcast. Every time it's on there, I'm like, yo, don't put Ariel. I'm sorry, bro. I've been working as a double agent.
Oh, now the truth comes out.
I hit the talk button to the back. Ariel, just please don't use it.
Because I keep saying this is the summer of DC, but now I'm starting to feel like between Countdown, the potential tweets, this could be the summer of Ariel too.
You're back. You might be back. I mean, you just and first off, I would be, you know, a bad friend if I didn't mention that I noticed you're wearing a different shirt today. I saw it, dog. Nice powder blue power shirt.
That's right.
I'm like, good job, dude. You change it up a little bit. So it's like every day you wear that flannel shirt. So it's like, you know, Ariel's going to grocery store. Sunday best, dude's going to church. You know, you got this nice blue shirt on, looking good.
Or synagogue, whatever, you know, same thing.
Wait, it's called Seneca? That color shirt's called Seneca?
No. You said church. I don't go to church. I'm Jewish. I go to a synagogue.
Oh, synagogue. I thought you said or Seneca, like the shirt color Seneca.
No. You know what a synagogue is, right?
I do know what it. Oh, it's your church.
Well, yeah, it's our temple. Have you ever been to a synagogue?
No.
Wow.
I'm sorry, bro. I haven't been to a synagogue. I've been to church.
I've been to church.
My whole life. You've been to a church?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, they're great. I love churches. They're beautiful.
Catholic church?
I think Christian.
Okay. Let's not talk about this, okay? Let's not talk about
that's a...
like
I wonder how many synagogues there are in Lafayette, Louisiana.
A lot of things like religion. No, let's not talk about religion.
I love all religions.
I love you, my Jewish brother, as you love me, you know, but like, let's just not talk about, you know, religion on the show. You know? I just think that we should.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, back to Curtis Blades. Obviously, he lost to Francis twice, so that fight's not going to happen. It sounds like Francis is going to wait to see what happens with your fight. I was suggesting let's see Curtis fight the winner of, because he's won 4 in a row, as has Francis, but of course Francis is ahead of him.
Yep.
Maybe the winner of Derek Lewis versus Alexei Oleinik, which I reported last week, that's going to headline the week before your fight, August 8th. By the way, are you surprised Derek Lewis is taking that fight?
Why would I be? No, I think Derek, I mean, if I'm Derek Lewis, I'm fighting Alexei, right? Because Alexei fights well, but I just think back to Alexei and Walt Harris, a big, powerful puncher that can put him out, you know? So if I'm Derek Lewis, I'm taking that fight. I'm going out there trying to knock him out. Because you beat Alexei Oleinik after the win over Verdum and the way that he's looked lately, he's right back where he was, you know? And dude has a win over Francis Ngannou, you know? So, like, Derek can start, you know, Derek hasn't lost since I beat him, right? He lost to Junior Dos Santos.
Yes.
But he beat Bagoy and
just
who else?
Who do you have just what's his name? Alir Latifi.
He beat Latifi, right? So like
some people thought he lost that fight actually.
I know it was very close. But now he'd be winning 3 in a row. He beats Oleinik and you know, he can start to say, well, I'm getting right back in the position to have a big fight.
Lewis versus Blades would be fun.
I think it's the same type of fight, though. It's just the same type of fight as the one that we just saw last weekend. There aren't many guys that can make Curtis Blades stand with.
Okay, what about Olenek? Olenek and Blades have fought before, but it ended controversially at 217 in Madison Square Garden.
I don't know. I mean, I think Curtis Blades might be in a position where he might have to wait because who else is he going to fight?
Well, he's not going to wait. He's not going to wait for the winner of your fight and then the winner of Francis and.
No, he's got to. Well, he's going to have to fight, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird spot for him right now. Maybe
Yeah.
he's gonna have to fight somebody beneath him because he's running out of options.
If you're Francis, do you fight him? Just stay busy.
I only fight him if when I win and then retire and then the belt's just up and vacant. Then he fights Curtis for maybe the vacant title.
Oh, okay. Only for the belt.
Yeah, I don't fight him again if not. Why? Knocked him out twice.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a good like you win that fight on August 15th. The belt is vacant. They might just put Stipe back in the title fight.
He should be. Stipe should be back in the title fight. Yeah, because even though I'll have beaten him twice, he still, had more title defenses than any UFC champion. So
I want to see Stipe Francis too.
well, you're gonna have to wait until you see me beat him for the third.
Well, that's
time.
what I'm saying. I'm saying like down the line. Jeez, don't get all defensive
Yeah,
on me.
I'm getting very defensive.
Yeah.
Be Francis too. Like Stipe has a chance to win the fight. He's
No,
not.
no, I'm saying once you vacate the title, he's gonna have to fight for the belt against Francis.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe
Whatever.
he's gonna need some time to recover once. I'm serious because I'm serious. I'm really serious this time. Like I'm not playing.
I hear you. That's a good transition for us because Dana said on Saturday night, Dana White said that the fight is happening at the Apex. So last week I broke the news, California, Arizona. Sounds like those states aren't available anymore. Now it's the Apex. You like this?
I love
What?
that it's the Apex.
Smaller cage?
That old leg gonna be right in front of me to grab. I'll be like Curtis Blades. Hey, if you want to see a 25-minute stand-up fight, that's not what you're getting.
Don't say that. Everyone will hate you.
Stipe has his wrestling shoes because with the small cage, single leg, single leg, single leg, single leg, wrestling. It is what it is. Sorry, it is what it is, Ari.
Is there a case to be made though? The first two fights were in the big cage. Heavyweight title fights should be in the official 30-foot cage. Does this make it less official?
Are you out of your mind?
he gets spotted out. Where's the make pause from his own teammate? The sniper done. Facility of a man. Plus, Netherlands still holding the front line. Find out you're at pick up. Incredible zoning from Facility. He's been standing out in the spotlight as the main player for this defense. France, time cut. Initiated his micro France. On the left side. He's got Trice Spear. He gets the safety fence and then critical. Still got so low. He seals up. Never has it ready. The cross misses. Netherlands backing off. They know he has the the shield seal on the hole. Physical finish from Netherlands. France. Oh my God, Arsenal, they need to make a space for him. He just put his force. Running from Netherlands. Wounding France. Soon set up in the back, but not enough team.
shooting. They're really good, and thanks for the spot.
Alright, soon. How prepared are you guys to face Team China next?
I don't know yet because we are focused against Netherlands, so we'll see against China. We're going to review and be prepared for them.
Enjoy the moment. Now, before I let you go, we have a very special guest. Hi there. What's your name? Bonjour, Matthew. Are you Francais? Oh, you're super fan over here. Well, we have a wonderful gift for you here, so this is for you. And now, you have to hug soon. Congratulations, thank you, Sue. Alright, let me give you a dish back to you guys. Thank you. Look at everyone enjoying this moment, this spotlight. If you're a fan of the Netherlands, you have to be proud. Fighting through prelims, fighting through group stage. No one expected this. Just taking a match against these juggernaut teams.
Striking back and forth, very bloody, very
France, handshakes all around. We have a very special interview. The victory moment presented by Coca-Cola. Down to Natalie. Well, not ready yet. We're going to do the handshakes, but it will be United States versus South Korea coming up next. Keep your points here.
The 2019 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you
France is loud. You gotta keep it loud for their next
The
match
newest
coming
single
up.
is part of
We are
the
ready for the interview. Victory moment presented by Coca-Cola. And Natalie,
The official PC and display
thank you so much, Lemon Kiwi. I'm here with Soon. Congrats again, Soon and Team France. Give it up.
Overwatch World Cup.
Now, you guys are doing so well at World Cup this year. What about World Cup that expected to perform so much better?
A lot of practice. Last week in Europe, raised Netherlands, one of the best in Europe, and we're doing a good company, so we are ready for the in US or in Korea.
Now, I couldn't help but notice that you guys have an amazing fan base that came all the way out here to support you. So, does all the energy from the fans help you guys perform even better?
Yeah, every year there's this and here, and they're shooting. They're really good, and thanks for the spot.
Alright, Soon. Now, how prepared are you guys to face Team China next?
I don't know yet because we are focused against Netherlands, so we'll see against China. We're going to review and be prepared for them.
Yeah, of course. Enjoy the moment. Now, before I let you go, we have a very special guest. Hi there. What's your name?
Matthew.
Well, bonjour, Matthew. Are you Francais?
Oui, français.
Ah, you're a super fan over here. Well, we have a wonderful gift for you here. So, Matthew, this is for you. And now, you have to hug Soon. Woo! Congratulations. Thank you, Soon. All right, let me and Jake, back to you guys. Thank you, Emily. That was the victory moment presented by Coca-Cola. And of course, for one, Soon's getting carried by someone else.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see why the fans come. You can see why they cheer that classic souvenir. They're out the arena, and it's because this happens on a show every single time. I mean, that Widowmaker. I think the Netherlands just didn't have the answer. I feel like the rest of the teams, striking back and forth, very bloody, very close. Everyone else, but Soon just coming out on top time and time again. It's less of a role thing, it's more. He's such an insane Widowmaker player. On these maps on full sky, on Junkertown, just being able to just dominate, take over the game. When you're being picked time and time again on the offense, it's such a psychological blow. You start to question yourself. You're not confident in your own rotations, not confident in your own aggressive plays, just trying to not get headshot. When a player is exerting that kind of influence over the game, you can see why the audience cheers them on.
Incredible players from both teams. We were talking to Soon behind the stage. Thinking about the match, he's like, let's go. And that's the type of confidence I take.
He's an experienced player, it's nothing new for him playing in this land environment. He's always going to have a good performance. He's not one of those players who's susceptible to pressure. If anything, the pressure brings to a higher.
Speaking of a higher level, we have almost the most exciting match beside the grand finals coming up next. It will be United States versus South Korea coming up next. Keep your points in your seats.
The 2019 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built by Duet. Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch World Cup. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch World Cup.
Last 2 years, we didn't France. It's a huge honor for us. When eSport was recognized in US or in Korea, it wasn't. It's not representing the team, it's representing the nation. There's a ton of people watching you because they are French and they want us to win.
Well, the Cinderella story has come to an end. The Netherlands are eliminated, but France continues their glorious run here at the Overwatch World Cup 2019. I'm Bold Boy Alone, Ren, Reinforced and Sideshow, and we will attempt to break things down. But before we do that, because there's something that's really just bothering me, friend, why do you have a whiteboard here?
So glad you asked, Boy. Because when I was a young boy, roaming through the streets of Florida, when I was sleeping in Tesla House, I always wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to be creating. I'm left-handed. They say left-handed people creative. So I figured, we don't have a player match, so I figured, why not create my own? So I'm going to use this opportunity to try and create my own player match, sponsored by Brent's book. And you guys can just talk about the highlights. I'm actually going to draw the whiteboard with player match.
Okay, all right. I have a bad feeling about this. Okay, well, let's just run the highlights of that game while Bren does his interpretive drawing, perhaps. I don't know. Match. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, that's a great match, for sure. Let's run through the top-level stuff here. I mean, France, they came out booming in the beginning. They looked like they were going to, roar right through this. Netherlands gave them a good fight as well in Lee Zhang to start things off.
Yeah, definitely. It was a classic duo of facility and Bruce, I think, for the Netherlands that were performing throughout this series. But really, the people we got the more, the France looked phenomenal. Soon as League took control of this series, League's fire has been outrageous.
But even then, I do think that the Netherlands did a great job at trying to shut down France. Because we saw multiple times that they played so well with Bruce and with this deal, blocking off League there, getting the kill on the him to secure the rest of the world and tying up the series. But also multiple times, okay, this is
unreal. This was outrageous. Soon had more final blows. 3 times more final blows.
I think he had 60% field participation, right?
Yeah, he had 15 final blows. The whole of the Netherlands had 5 final blows. He dominated them.
That's insane. It's insane to see it soon do that. Again, this guy's been competing in Overwatch for such a long time now. I commentated him in other games previously. So the guy's been on the grind for such a long time. It's just to see him pop off here once again for why he's so good.
Definitely the star player, friend. He's a big force.
It is done.
We're trying to do analysis here. And you're drawing?
Are you ready?
What's going on?
For the Brennan player of the match.
It's got to be one of the.
Okay, you guess who it is?
It's what is that? It's just a French. Okay, you're supposed to know who that is.
Yeah. Well, can you tell he's got the beret?
Yeah?
Because he's French.
I guess
He's
there's
got
6 players on the team.
He has the baguette because he is French.
But they're all French. Who is it?
Well,
How are we supposed to get? How are we supposed to get there was X?
give him the dunce cap.
You know what? I'm tired. The Cinderella story has come to an end. The Netherlands are eliminated, but we're going back. We're going here. Very important sideshow, and we will attempt to break things down. Before we do that, because while we've been talking for such a long time, and we're that's really just rambling away, yelling at each other. Brandon looks like, why do you have a whiteboard here? I want to know what's going on.
Because when I was a young boy,
Dare I say?
I was sleeping in Tesla Lounge. No, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to
That's right, folks. T-Mobile fan. Let's go. Where are we?
Why not
Series,
create my
the
own
fans sharing
to try and create
their
my own
love for the
version of
energy in the arena.
And,
You feel like this was the final match between Iron Man 2 and the French fans are always outrageous. You know, they cheer on that. Okay, well, let's just run the highlights. By the way, people in the arena, we hear you. We hear you, so if you could cheer louder, that would be actually fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's a great match, for sure. Like, there's lovely love here. I mean, the team came up, moving to the beginning. You know, Warwick really showed us actually want to because as well, a lot of Asian talent that is showing up here at the World Cup and I think the Netherlands, right? Like the whole team is so like not soon as we put out the series. I think it's outrageous. Well, I do think the Netherlands did a great job trying to shut down France. And here's the big one though, because they want to get down to their stacks here. You want the guys to dye your hair. That'd be fantastic.
We have a challenge going on where
Soon after final close, 3 times really just do that. It's insane to see him soon do that. You know, again, these guys have been competing in Overwatch for such a long time now. And you know, game previously. The guys have been nominated as well. Let us just move on. Also, another thing we want you guys to do is share with us the T-Mobile MVP. We think it is because T-Mobile wants you, the fans, outside this year's Overwatch World Cup. Valuable player, semi-final match begin. You can vote the T-Mobile MVP by using either Twitter or Twitter with the hashtag T-Mobile MVP and your player battle tag. Be sure to get with all the Overwatch World Cup action with T-Mobile, whose network now reaches farther than ever before.
The baguette because he is French.
But they're all French. Who is it? Are you a host? I didn't read that. That came from the top of my head. How are we supposed to get this? How are we supposed to get this? Here's one thing I want to do. Talk about T-Mobile. Okay, well, I'm tired. And we're going to check out against South Korea. It's going to be South Korea taking on the United States of America, folks. This is the moment we've all been waiting because I cannot believe that we're coming down to this. But for now, rambling away, yelling at each other. We're going to send it over to Emily, who has Coach Arrow standing by to get his thoughts before this big semifinal match. On with the fans.
Thank you, Alex. I'm down here with Arrow, the head coach of Team USA. Make some noise for Team USA, you guys.
That's right, folks. T-Mobile fan pulse.
The energy here is unreal, and man, this lineup is so stacked.
The fans sharing their love for the energy in the arena. You feel like this was the final match? Every match has been pretty hectic, but we only had 2.
I mean, it definitely felt great to beat South Korea. They cheer on the whole team out for anything. They'll be able to beat them 3-0 with incredible.
By the way, people in the arena, we hear you. We hear you. So if you could cheer louder, that would be
So
actually
many
fantastic.
fans, analysts, and a lot of
I'm just saying. It is one thing Gold Boy knows how to do is cheat. Then we got tennis players really showing up here. Actually, do want to mention that because we have a lot of great new talent that have been showing up here at the World Cup. And right? Like, just the whole team. This is why I actually agree with Brent's player of the match. You know, because you don't think it's Sue. I mean, Sue was good.
Thank you, everyone. Best of luck to USA. All right, guys, back to
Here's a big one,
the
though. Because thank you so much, Emily. You want USA ready to go here against South Korea. The salty run back, some might say, for South Korea because they did lose. Team USA in the group stages. And I guess while we're here, you know, let's just discuss the question. Who do you think is going to win this? And Josh, because you're not wearing the dunce cap, I'm going to start with you.
Challenge. Going to go with now. Okay, well, I think
for the sanity of the sanity of us all, let us just move on. Also, another thing we want you guys to do is share with us T-Mobile MVP. Who do you think it is? Because T-Mobile wants you as fans outside this year's Overwatch World Cup most valuable player. And once the semifinal match begins later today, you can vote for the T-Mobile MVP by using either which overlay or Twitter with the hashtag T-Mobile MVP and your player battle tag. Be sure to keep up with all the Overwatch World Cup games with T-Mobile. Whose network now reaches farther than ever before. Shout out. Thanks as well. Very nice. I didn't read that. Top of my head. That was all. I mean, there's one thing I know how to do is talk about T-Mobile. Okay, well, here's the schedule, and what we're going to check out because coming up next, it's going to be South Korea taking on the United States of America, folks. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. I cannot believe that we're coming down to this, but for now, though, we're going to send it over to Emily, who has Coach Arrow standing by to get his thoughts before this big semifinal match.
Thank you, Alex. I'm down here with Arrow, the head coach of Team USA.
Well, here's the thing.
Make some noise for Team USA, you guys.
Himself, the Golden Boy. One cannot argue.
The energy here is unreal, and man, this lineup is so stacked.
Three gold medals right here.
Yesterday was the first
These
time
3 gold medals
South Korea.
will represent what I think is going to happen because South Korea didn't just win
It
one.
definitely felt great to beat South Korea.
They didn't just win twice.
Huge milestone for any team. So to beat them 3-0 was incredible. You know, we're
They
feeling
won
really
3
confident.
times,
We're ready to do it
and
again.
they're looking to make it into
So
a
many
gold
fans,
medal. So they're going to
analysts,
beat USA here.
Team USA are going to take it all the way home. So, what do you guys think? What do you have to do to...
I don't know who's going to win this match, so
I think the key for us
I think it's just you already think.
We've got some incredible assistant coaches with us that have been helping us. You know,
Wow, it's not happening to you. It's all about the United States of America. Take this with your goal and South Korea and
This is like
Thank you, everyone. Best of luck to USA. All right, guys, back to the desk.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Emily. Team USA ready to go here against South Korea. The salty run back, some might say, for South Korea because they did lose. Team USA in the group stages. All right, well, you know what? We might as well just bring out the team. Ladies and gentlemen, who think put your hands together for South Korea. Not wearing the dunce cap. I'm going to start with you. Yesterday, South Korea lost to Team USA, but in the interview, Rachel Dawson did say that they were going to beat USA 3-0 in this match. You know, let's make some of this and all the videos. You have to keep in mind the World Cup. All of that one, we worked out all the times prior. Okay, well, Team USA for Josh, but Brent, they lost yesterday. Surely they went back on the tape. The Denmark game, they were getting their bearings together. What do you think about South Korea? I mean, now I say they might need to be wearing favorites. Despite the fact that I think it's incredibly obvious. The individual skill is absolutely there. I would say individually, on a healthy basis, Put your hands together for United States of America. One cannot argue with gold, and it's for that reason that I have 3 gold medals right here. These 3 gold medals represent what I think is going to happen. Let's say they won. They didn't just win twice. They won 3 times, and they're looking to make it into a 4th gold medal, so they're going to be the USA here. Finally,
terms of like the rift scenarios like the USA's now. So they get the percentage on the point. They force South Korea to switch to the main to be on point. Now they come in with an advantage top 5 of their own. Very good. Not sure if you would like to land. It's right here, right? I think just down this. I think just not listen straight forward at this point. Many of them get a point and get like 3 points. This will be a lot in there with South Korea. The USA team is going to win in 4 times. They know ultimately on the board. Central position. South Korea knows better. This is super dangerous to keep in the line, right? It's like more South Korea. You're always not to position yourself ahead. Sailing over the top of the takes his device. Back to the line, finishing the line out of the way. The way is clear for the state. Now this is passing up on the point. This is why I want to go. This is a very difficult thing. Right? CR takes over space. Very effective against fashion. Using the wall, which is behind comes to the point. Moving the basket. Getting out. It wasn't from Cape. Everyone's going to be pulled out of position. The Monsters of the Bell fight once itself. 65. South Korea's qualifying the world. They are barreling forward. They lose down. The long game back goes to South Korea. The very often. It needs to be the Christian. You want to stand back up a pass point. Being also pressing out to the wing. The US repels South Korea. It was struggling for an answer to an unconventional strategy. And the issue here is the Widowmaker. Swinging his plate in South Korea. No support. It goes on the high ground. Up at the bottom of the still too early. Hellfire shot down. Korea defense on the right. Trying to straight away. Managed to take it down. He was frozen though. Korea for the game. And he plays. Two around those. That's 2 kills in the second set. Good motion, gentlemen. He's got a hold by way across. But South Korea knows they give out the point. They want to choice. Now South Korea for the war in the fight. South Korea comes through. Right, making some more changes. Making different kills. That's still 1 kill. Now he's in a position. Let's see what it looks like. Monsters. Video strikes. Probably switch off your USA. Well, 50%. Now you're looking to see 4 other fighters. Now trying to do fist and push down the rocket. Wall up. Trying to make sure the space inside of it. Get the percentage on the point. Super. South Korea gets out. Korea to find that kill. With an advantage top 1 of their own. Korea are up right now. So he comes to the fight. The very expensive place. More space. More space. There. But doesn't go less. Now it's just the right time. This will be clean up. South Korea. Absolutely no ultimate on board. A token resistance to the USA. They're trying to buy some time to get the rest of the fight. That's looking increasingly unlikely. We're looking at the third round here on Busan. He was in some space. Trying to stay alive. He's so long way. The coalescence obviously goes for big shields. The next fight has to have that off. Not have sound barrier taken out there. By opening 3, 1 big one down. 1 final high ground. Just teleport up to 2. Right down. Time to spinning top to the reply back. Remaining flexible. Going to be the one from Cafe. Not really wants to be those in that position. One still fell by the flex itself. 65. South Korea's not the water. They are barreling forward. Trump has now gone down. The line goes to South Korea. The very left. It needs for them. This is a good dude. US is struggling. To get back up. It's an ultimate streak. They have one more chance. This one's going around for us. And I was the Team USA. Thought 190. They had sound barrier there. They invested in a bit of time. So now trying to force that out. Going to USA. It looks like they're going to get, but has to be careful. Very close. Swinging the point in South Korea. No support. It's going to come to the ground. The bottom anymore. Still can do it. The Hellfire shotgun. Korea has to get on the right. Trying to straight away. Managed to take it down. He was frozen though. Korea went for the game. They get placed. 2 around though. Had 2 kills inside. Big slam. Good motion. They grab the whole that way. Craft. But South Korea knows they get out the point. There's no other choice. Nacho with 4 in the fight. He comes through. Rocket punches through. 2 kills. They corner line after. Extra. Let's see what it looks like. Drops down and super blast off again. We have the one for South Korea. Back to the drawing board once more. The USA puts it down for architect here. Wall up to try to make sure the straight inside and the curtain drops. It's so super. I think it's right out. So Korea's going to find that kill. Coming right in after it. In for tap. Korea right. Korea right now. Not to find out the back. The network from Cafe. One of the barriers preventing from getting on. Space is looking worse for wear. Mendoza's coalescence. Now it's just the right side. Coming looks very interesting fight. Super return of the wrecking ball with a token. A token resistance for USA. They're trying to buy some time to get the rest of them back in position. That's looking increasingly unlikely. It'll be a third round here on Busan. Space trying to use the goes for Chile, but he gets set back anyway. I think they'll find Bob Corey in there. Big clutch. Yoga, 5-2, massive kill. Followed up with a third. For the United States, still have got that sport. Not sure if this final one is not after that, but it has been really losing the Sigma. That's kind of where things are Team USA. You just have this for big blocks here. Not about where they take so much damage coming in. There's a risk of getting eliminated. By Sigma, get it right. So it's a big clutch. Goes down to the early market. Stand up. He's going to try. Yeah, you'll see probably both South Korea's recent players come out. Trying to pull forward. Focus is now down. US have one on here and desperately spaces just trying to get the point. Right, not sure. So they've got a crease. They let it out. They the glory and the kill. That'll be enough. South Korea from South Korea. Open up this series. Well back win. Already well ahead of their previous performance against the United States. Good track. As soon as they lose super, the front line are strong on the reaper. That's going to go long. South Korea push right on the low. 7 down for South Korea. I like the USA match a big way. After everybody's going to sit up here. Where does they try and make a play under and they're going to speed through. And they're important to hold those coalescence is extra important for Rockets, but it's interrupted. A quick snare rocket punch. Architect drops down and super blast off again. That'll be another one fight for South Korea. Back to the drawing board once more for the USA.
The 2019 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by
Choke yet again.
T-Mobile. The newest signal is farther than ever, and it's built by you.
Hold speed boost and they come right back.
The official PC installation of the World Cup moves forward and Bond Coca-Cola. The official beverage of the Overwatch World Cup.
South Korea, the doubling down. Interesting. The player advantage, they still seem to sure. Notice they say, but this is a statement game for USA to try and get a win here. It's one the other way around for South Korea. Using the but driving safe. They're going to try and get hoping for, but he gets set back anyway. I think they'll find Bob Corey in the big clutch. Yoga, 5-2, massive kill, followed up with a third for the United States. Still haven't got that sport.
We are pioneering this final point in time. This is all South Korea. Thanks for piloting the other side.
USA just had this for big blocks to you.
It's a night and day.
So much
real by Duet. Only the official PC and display of the Overwatch World Cup. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch World Cup.
Last 2 years, it's a huge honor for us when esports was recognized in the US.
Josh, you going for a drive safe this year?
Yep, using the app, driving safe.
Gaming, a world of
Go, bro! Do not mess with my discount.
and discount up to 30% with drive safe and save.
The future waits for no one.
Welcome
So
back,
we
ladies.
choose to wait for it.
Through the 2019
We're not just
Overwatch
pilots
World
or
Cup.
engineers. We are pioneers. Today, battles are facing down. Aims to follow you to the other side of the world. We turn night into day and fly missions in space. The future's not coming. It's already here. This is the future. Join us.
Now we are vulnerable, and then like as soon as you get to the fight today, they really like use another gear. There's no memory there. Match 1 was very close. Comes down to the wire. Well, not the third. Yeah, the third round really did a blowout in favor of South Korea. But it'll be interesting to see what happens as we go further. The series we do have a substitution for South Korea. So match number 2 will be Hollywood. So maybe we see Farah playing Hanzo play here from either. Really, we've seen a ton of Farah Hanzo throughout the season. The tracer from Sinatra worked very well against Object Zoom. First round, very hard for us to do it anything about it all. Substitution here for South Korea, I believe. You're familiar with those glasses? Axel comes in for Carpe. I mean, Axel play do this far as a lot of heroes like to have. That's one of the role for all of those. Absolutely. And you can always leave Architect in to pick up to work on any other hero. I mean, that's why Architect was such a vital part of the game for this shot. And then also this team can kind of build around the downfield role. They play every multiple Overwatch games from both of these two teams. Second half, of course, being Hollywood, yes, might open up a couple of opportunities to see the Bastion playing from Architect should be required. Axel.
BlizzCon 2019
Like
brought to you by
do you think like quick question, do you feel like USA learned
Facebook Gaming, a world of
or
play.
even Shopify though? I mean,
For
not
sale.
in
New York.
I think they do
And by
it could be tough. I think they come in and they've been here for a little bit now. Really got
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2019 Overwatch World Cup first semi-final. After we get into distraction, Hollywood brings
in the set, so it could take a little bit for USA to although I think that's like flashback point on who's on. It did look bad there. They were all everybody's talking about it. They ended up winning. They now win. They're vulnerable, and then like as soon as we get to the final day, really the way it ended, it was something really weird. It's really weird. It was very close. Comes down to the wire. How do you fly under the radar? Yeah, the third round, all Architect, Hano, in the open, Carpe on the round. What happens as we go further? So we do have a substitution.
Corey might be you're on Hanzo recovery for 1-1 real life Hanzo battle against Oracle.
Hanzo play here.
The match will be the best team South Korea very well trying to get set up. See like a force rotation right.
You almost actually saw South Korea. They tried to use the teleporter and then reach it. And now we see UT playing like all that so far. In the World Cup, this is the competition we see a lot of teams go to throughout the weekend. Farah Hanzo with Zenyatta, and it's really put a lot of shield pressure down. You can end the Discord now here. That's damage of Hanzo was such an end of Farah that target is shocked. Relatively dead quickly. Just hold the bounce in the downfield or fight every spot behind the shield, and then Farah damage over the top of the shield. Much more lethal. Rockets has got down already though, but there's no PS over the top, Axel trying to make some hard hits. Sinatra goes a little bit. Dragon strike to the point now. USA way up under response to that one. Going to the fight, Mano. Axel pulled back to the top. Super strike and touches the line. Only one telling you what to go for the F-Matrix anyway. And it works out. IDK on the high ground. He's sheepishly absconded. The rest of his team turns to ashes. USA need to go pretty heavy in that fight to be able to win it. There's Sinatra as soon as the Dragon strike. Having come down from Corey, he jumps down to the low ground inside of the Dragon strike. So it's something a little bit for USA. South Korea, they want to push eventually. They're vulnerable, but they can't because of the Dragon strike coming out of there, right? They ended up winning a lot of extra damage with them. Cannot even live through. Yeah, Axel pushes very close to the cafe. Like I say, mostly on the side. But Corey already has an off-field life. He still has to duel a little bit on the next couple of rows. Who will make the side? The outcome of this fight. Kick out the back to the top, but it doesn't work. Fucking evil pound feels down. Cut out the Dragon strike. Corey uses one per fight for this guy. South Korea slightly, but not enough to allow the USA to capitalize yet. 30k's down, but he's trying to super busy. USA missing on their shielding right now. They've lost Corey. He's only taking a step to South Korea. He can still do well from his position. Over space out of the future. That one shield makes big difference here. Bob, inside the immortality shield, that's going to get cleaned up. The Rockets put the finish on Axel with a sling dart. Then over the top, TS Robertson up to keep the train alive with Mano. Runs it down. I'm still here. I'll Tracer just trying to contest this for a little bit. You're going to see a lot of teams go to the afterwards. He's saying, nice Hanzo is in Yano. Really put a lot of shield pressure down. You can end the Discord down. Get to the point. Hanzo then hit the bar on that target. Relatively dead. We capture this whole Bastion. Comes back on rotation here. It actually goes that far. Rockets has got down already though. He's pick up. He can avoid this press jump. Corey over the top. Axel trying to make some hard hits. Sinatra goes a little bit. Dragon strike to the point now. USA way back under response to that one. Corey never quite knows. Axel keeping on the top. Super strike to the point. Sinatra works with a nasty punch here on the high ground. It's sheepish. He's got those South Korea down. Turns to ashes. USA there pretty heavy in that fight to be able to win it though. There's some damage. As soon as the Dragon strike comes down, able to play Corey through that counter low ground, has to go side of the spawn while he's set up the circle. And this is South Korea. They want to push the back. They know they're vulnerable right now. They can't because of the Dragon strike coming on in. It takes a lot of extra damage. Stuff you're not able to live through. Axel plays very close to the great idea. Corey now the FPL alive. Corey have to do a little bit of USA couple points on the full ground side. He gets fight out the back of the top, but it doesn't work. Corey wants to kill the USA. Dragon strike from Corey. He was one of the fight out this guy here. He doesn't put South Korea away, but not allowed to allow the USA capitalize yet. South Korea down. He's trying to fight. USA missing on their shield right now. They've lost Corey. Still they push. There was Yosa extending South Korea. He can still do well. Rockets no nice on the witch. That one shield was a big transfer. It's on the other end. Another bit of Rockets. Axel takes control. Sinatra wants to look at the bottom. Wants to keep it alive. Mano trouble. Runs it down. Sinatra still here on the Windsor. Just trying to contest this for a little bit. Has Super coming back in, but actually able to force him. Nice body block there. Goes over the top. He comes in, knocks super out of the way, so he's trying to get the space, trying to turn around, and then grabs not able to So the Supercharger coalesces in and blocked eventually by Corey. It will be a little bit later. Corey finally buys some time. Is it enough? He's using his shield to try and stay alive. His teammates are on the way. The cavalry is here. Super kept alive. Now the USA are pushing forward. The Supercharger. Dead Blossom. And Corey trying to make things beat. Architect tries to those. What? Stun. Unbelievable interruption from Sinatra. The rocket punch cancels the Dead Blossom from Architect. And now South Korea going to do this the old-fashioned way. Ball goes up and Dead catches Super around, but Sinatra does work. Other weeks down. Meteor strike gets the kill. Goes with 2 loads in and the shot. Sinatra is here again. This guy is a maniac.
That's the difference between trying to keep Architect alive.
Control yourself.
A little bit of the tactical crouch there towards the end, but final fight here for Sound Three. Already response faster turns into short. End up with another Blizzard and that Blossom in that type of scenario. Team USA to get those. Team USA only now goes on the attack. They'll both stay on this big plus. When you see Sinatra on the right side,
Goes here. Oh!
horrible position. Mono and Axel coming up. Serious. Mono will Team USA buy in. Some shots after the kinetic. Fantastic football also pays off one. They have to lock the wall against the play. Axel already a Blizzard 2 in the match. After the first fight, just bring down the line. Congratulations. I think one another. Nothing they can do there, really. They hold up right into the choke here. Who's having a smile on the board? Jersey has right. No real opportunity to attack any other way. It doesn't choke into an element like Rockets. And when you're walking through and like the A wall, the Blizzard to call like there's not really enough time to get around the corner. That's the difference. Like 50%. Architect. What are you doing back here? I'm going to try and get rid of ball off. He doesn't stay on target. He doesn't have really. The USA down the ball. No Corey. No Corey. Team USA to work. Now goes on the attack. Let's see if they stay on this. Don't take when you see Sinatra on the replay on the USA. I know they're going to have their own sound barrier. So they're going to go Sinatra goes over and leave their own flux in the Supercharger. We're going to follow it up. So do that because you see they're going to get that thing. Also use your own. Rockets gets it before that. Fantastic field from Central. Straight down the road. Huge rising uppercut. On islands with both the MVP players. He was just like in a position. This one looks good. It looks great. Horrible position. 3 kills. 2 for the Blossom. That's another point. That's South Korea want to deliver some shots. That's exactly what I was talking about. Anything better because they didn't have to use their big blocks. So they pushed it on through. Get an early kick on. So now knowing that South Korea does not have the sound barrier, you have good knowledge of that if you're Team USA. If they try and like close around the Blizzard, can you just ribbon plus save your team? There was Blizzard. Nothing they can do there. Really. Right into the choke here on Hollywood. Architect down there as well. He has no real opportunity to attack any other way. Whole choke to an element of the Blizzard and in your water area. You're lucky here. Meanwhile, the Blizzard call like there's not really enough time or ability to get around the corner. Really quickly by the Blizzard. Architect still damage. Well, you build Team USA brain. Looking to try and get rid of Sinatra looking off to you and Corey. The call goes over to the Sinatra drops in. Video strike for the USA. Down his players. No Corey. No Corey. Down by 4 points. He's not really in position to get more than just super. Doesn't knock him up, but it's fine. Increasing forces out of the side. The USA. They can sense weakness. They're going to play their own balance in the Supercharger with the same damage. Follow it up. So infinite amount of time here. They're able to get that center back. Also use your own coalescence. Rockets get around the corners and probably be a real good advantage. They have no support always on Corey. Most support on team. Everybody they know. Those are the teams that have been really the plus. Here for Corey. Hollywood goes the way of the Stars. Big plus. And the Stars. Get an early kick on. So now knowing that South Korea does not have the sound barrier, good knowledge of that if you're Team USA. If they try really focus on Corey, they stand up for big plus there. Save your team there. The Blizzard plays on the Kilo. He's down the crowd. So strong throughout that. That's the team around, right? So back here for Team USA as they tie the series up. Well, the USA back to business. And that was one where Axel gets the Blizzard in a really close quarter area. It's going to be very difficult. Space still had no ability to use it. Everybody gets taken really quickly by the Blizzard. But still the damage deal is 14 USA brain. Sinatra will take off you and then Corey gets another final goes over to do. Whoa, Sinatra drops in. Meteor strike. Perfect. Axel is down by 4 by Architect. And Jenny's not really in position to get more than just super. Sinatra will now knock him up, but it's fine. Increasing forces out of the province. The USA, they can sense weakness. And now you have a lot of time. Your Team USA has infinite amount of time here to work with in terms of Overwatch, right? When you get this payload around the corner, this will probably be like one fight territory for South Korea. They'll have most support. Team USA has a good idea. They know that those are on the table. I haven't seen them in a while. This will be the flux here from space. So they'll get the sound barrier out. Then Blossom when they drop down as an option. It's going to be coalescence is here. Comes Corey once more. Barrels through Mono. Knocks down the door. And South Korea have no choice but to let them over the threshold. Hollywood goes the way of the Stars and the Strikes. I really thought you saw Corey have a standout performance there on Hollywood. At least the console at the beginning, but he's great for play. So strong throughout that match. I think it's really great. Everybody gets to see it for you. There was a team around, right? Started all the adjustments a little bit early on. Comes back here for Team USA as they tie the series up at 1 match.
Best player, I would do a Jonah from South Korea because he's one of the best flex sports I ever saw.
BlizzCon 2019
World Cup this year for
brought to
he's
you
just
by
unbelievable.
the official refreshment of BlizzCon. Facebook
When we
Gaming,
practice against
a
him, he
world
just
of
like
play.
randomly somehow 3v1s us and we're like, what just happened?
I would say highlight player,
Do your thing.
Masa, as a support player,
And
just
buy
because
into
he's
it.
very consistent, he has a very good play style, he's very communicative, and he's always there when you need help. So
Overall, I'd probably say Profit, just his like overall ability, and as like a support player, I think Mark is really insane. I think he's really good. He's not consistent throughout almost. He almost plays perfect every single time he goes.
The best player in Overwatch right now, I would probably say Shoyobin. Amazing at 3 level kills. Shoyobin is probably the best player overall in the game. I think he's insane in his prime. Then insane.
He's the best all time. He's the best competition.
I just know that Troy's a solid player. He'll do anything on the team.
He's not every percent. I think Troy has probably the best player as well.
And I would also like to play against Space. I think he's a very talented player. Probably the best wrestling player on acquisition.
He's a really good player.
The best player at World Cup right now is Team Overwatch. His performance over last year in the finals and those spectacular close.
He's got MVP in Overwatch. I think he would be a player here.
I think he did smash himself. He played almost every game.
He is dominating the team play and it's incredible how he plays.
In this case, World Cup, Duke is going to be pretty much holding like a pretty solid team. That's a big threat.
Best player, I would do a Jonah from South Korea because he's one of the best flex sports I ever saw.
I'd say in World Cup this year for he's just unbelievable. When we practice against him, he just like randomly somehow 3v1s us and we're like, what just happened?
I would say highlight player, Masa, as a support player, just because he's very consistent, he has very good play style, very communicative, and he's always there when you need help.
That means he knew the crowd, he knew how hyped everyone was going to be for Team USA. Definitely why he's on the show.
The best stuff is varied and wild. That's your own. To go on to after, of course, a lot of those blows have been exchanged already in this series, and map 3 represents a chance for these players. That's either South Korea or USA, and no doubt in front. The first of 3 series, and naturally this map is absolutely pivotal. Watch point rolled up. Plenty of opportunity for massive play. We've seen fire before. Long range plays. Cool is also an option. For one thing for sure, you're going to see a heck of a lot of Sigma. South Korea is going to go. As soon as they see this match over there, they're going to see pushes. There's the on level 4. Like, they're going to push back down the track. Find out who needs to be shooting first. Trust us for appearance. Got more value. He's active. And now he's going to go again. Desperately, Haxel trying to keep frozen. Great play for the USA opponents did right now. But South Korea still looking for those kills. Great wall off on Corey by Haxel, making it hard for him to have an impact here. Tsunami is still alive until now. The first strike. It's a messy trade. USA winning its way out. Space with 2. The call license coming in from Rockets here to turn the tides. Nestle right inside. Now to USA. It's a huge fight with this. If you lose, you have to consider switching off of this. But we were has the ultimate advantage. They win the fight there, and now they can get the bash themselves. Yeah, oh, that's the most difficult. That makes it obvious to suffer stack. That means walk on the crowd. You how like everyone will be. Here's a supercharger. It's South Korea. Money trying to get away. He got caught out. Blows a big exchange. Blows into the bye. We're going to take a chance for long range. South Korea just brought down. Pulled up by USA. Goes down from the round. Actually, South Korea absolutely pivotal. They had to use the roll up. When you watch it, Blizzard, get Blossom, Team USA, you want to stay on this match, you also get the high ground. One thing for sure, you're going to see a heck of a lot of Sigma. South Korea is going to go as soon as they see this match, they fire early, they start here pushes. There's the base off before in a way that they're going to come. They're going to push it back down the top. South Korea needs to shoot first. Tries to hit himself from Team USA. Active. What's he going to go against? Desperately, Haxel trying to keep frozen. 3 plays for USA. Opponents did right now, but South Korea still looking for those kills. Great wall off on Corey by Haxel, making it hard for them. Having effective tries to is still alive until now. Goes back again. But it's a missing trade. USA is winning its way out. He goes. He's with 2. The call license coming in. Trying to reach the Rockets here to turn the tides. Got to pack plenty of punch here. Huge fight with it. You lose that. You have to push on the down. Play help the USA. Still with the Corey. Corey then we sort of back there. Blizzard of all. South Korea also flick the Blizzard. Trying to gas them though. It's a fire grenade, but still not so poison configuration. United States from I like that Blizzard from Corey. He's a supercharger. He's a great line for this. South Korea might try to get away. He got caught out. Haxel! Corey says him bye-bye. We're then into the clutch from long range. Now finally brought down. He's pulled us. USA does not have protected from the rock. South Korea. So when they decided to use the road, the Blizzard down. Where the Blizzard gets South Korea can't move USA. He wants to stay up and goes off. You probably get into the high ground. The Blizzard stays on the low room. He couldn't capitalize on it. He's going to call it. High grenades. It's going to hurt him more. He's going to go down. Bring the defense of South Korea to the ground. And we have not had an opportunity up until this weekend in the season. So that's hurt. So the 6 actually used to take one of the highs here. Don't like the fight is over. The high ground Team USA wants to do. It's far like the Blizzard, but Sinatra just leads way on the trying to set up all weekend. On the car he goes. We push through this barrier. He's going to go to the second game. He's going to go to when he's in the time. So that's sleep. Delivers the save. They brought down. They got the USA. Now we're right down. Now he's super vulnerable. Great ball for Corey. South Korea most of the USA. Finally got the back. South Korea they're getting by everyone. South Korea nice throw in there. I like that water from Corey. Going for the defensive. Place it down. That one probably didn't stick. You're probably going to see here for South Korea. Not letting USA move the cart, but when the Gravitic you're going to see him switch over. Team USA why you see Blizzard there towards the end. Just trying to force another ultimate type competition. You don't have South Korea there. What they decided to do is they just roll the Blizzard down where the flux is. So South Korea can move on forward. Ocean trying to take the kills off. I was forced to stay inside the low left room. He couldn't capitalize on the background. That's the USA force. They're going to do that. They're going to do that. They're going to put up in the He's going to wheel it down. Going quick fire Sinatra there. He's going to USA South Korea. And then he's not had an opportunity up until this weekend as he's playing South Korea. So he's got an anaboost here. It's like the fight is over. We see those now. Chad just brought up this Blizzard, but space has been great on Sigma all weekend of this course of ocean match. I'll eventually push through this barrier. He's going to go supercharge. Get this thing up. He comes with a big clutch space. Takes the charge. Now go for it. He just wanted to use of that anaboost. He's going to fight now. He'll be removed right back now. Now he's super vulnerable. Great ball for Corey. Protecting most of the USA. Eventually South Korea are starting to push. They're getting really heavily going their ultimate. You guys sound very throw it in there. Still makes it up enough. Big clutch has to go here. Corey for the defensive. Place it down. Supercharger from Supercharger goes down. You're probably going looking for. Architect goes also trouble. And double offense. Full display now. Forcing another ultimate. South Korea wisely going to invest further to stay in the fight. USA gets the time extension. They know that there are a few members here that spawn just a whole weekend. Joy will jump off the side. Have him spawn around.
Just when
South
Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. Intel, the official CPU partner of BlizzCon. Cisco, the official networking partner of BlizzCon. And by HyperX. We're all gamers.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time in this particular tournament, the United States of America stand on the precipice of victory against South Korea. This time, though, South Korea, it would be lethal. And last time, to get a map back and stay alive in a series match.
And you know, the series been back. Starts to finish, right? But the USA has looked like more decisive, more confident in the last two matches. I think they needed that first match. It was close. South Korea ended up gaining it, but I think they needed a little bit of that wake up here for a while, right? It took a while to get the flow of play. They've already beaten South Korea today in a match. So now that we've seen the USA warm up the last two maps, really start firing on those.
Raucous space, multiple individuals on this United States roster with an absolutely massive performance. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes that. The second time in this particular tournament, the United States of America stand on the precipice of victory against South Korea. This time, though, South Korea, it would be lethal. And last time, to get a map back and stay alive in a series match.
And the Suns' choice is not that. Start to finish, right? From the depth side. But USA, we get a chance to see him play some of his balance. Confident playing. Toyota, one of the best. I think they needed that first match. Was close based on like hero on the ladder. I think they need a little bit of that wake up here for a while, right? It's a while to get to the flow of play. We've already now played this 11 day in a match. So now that we've seen the USA warm up the last two matches, really start firing on the ladders a little bit different. Space. Fine, but multiple individuals on this United States roster with an absolutely massive performance on Gibraltar. And it takes that to try and go all the way over the top of the line. Now, the second side is the most important. Here's a head-to-head to go back to space. Now, Sigma changes some things that are breaking now. Space leads in terms of the final flows. The importance about which the Suns' choice, the nominal offense. Space got to do it. Yeah, I mean, that's why you love even arguing against the lineup. Get a chance to Horizon Lunar Colony. They're going to be on fourth map in this series. At that point again, for the USA in the playoffs. But Space is having a zero on the ladder. They're all here for South Korea. They're starting on the attack side. First, we'll peruse the defensive level of the US. Yeah, a lot of different options. You play Iron Man a few months now, right? Play the Bastion. This is really kind of where we saw Bastion play. But come out here and play against Troy. This level experiment with other maps. You have some work out for South Korea. So the pressure comes down back in. The interesting part is we win on the win base. So this is going to be very difficult. You can play off angle, but come back just like door. Flying out the shots. They play Bastion. They don't make they allow court. They just take shots for free from the Suns. So we're probably going to use the symmetric teleporting club into a Suns. That's why you see what they're running. And then also what South Korea decides to do. Horizon Lunar Colony. You're going to see all kinds of strategies. For the US, singular ability to tap on their own and Corey quite crazy. They're going to be for South Korea. Top eight over the hands side. First, South Korea with the shield pressure. Head of Zenyatta with Batiste. A lot of different options. Without a Lucio. Like if you're the Bastion, the main core, like you get by. But I think you're going to have a very difficult time. If you get the Bastion moving on other maps and start to work out. Closing in on this. It's going to take a very long time for South Korea to develop any sort of offense. USA don't have to.
You know, you can be prepared and still lose. Because Dan was kicking bone on bone a lot, you know, on my lead shin. And, you know, I can send you a pic after this interview if you want, but my foot. Yeah. California's nice, I guess, but let's not laugh yet.
That's right. All right, so we have so much to talk about, and congratulations on another amazing win for you. First things first, how are you feeling? Because I know that you were transported to the hospital after the fight. Overall, how's the body feeling?
I'm busted up, man. I actually had a couple x-rays done this morning, and I'm going follow-up tomorrow morning for an MRI of my shin just to make sure there's no hairline fractures, because Dan was kicking bone on bone a lot, you know, on my lead shin. And, you know, I can send you a pic after this interview if you want, but my foot is swollen like a balloon. My ankle is huge.
Wow.
From all the blood running down from my shin. But other than that, man, you know, bumps and bruises, my hands and my ribs, a little bit of soreness, but I'm good.
When did you start to feel that your shin was messed up?
I mean, early in the fight, I don't think anything's wrong with it. It's precautionary, you know, because it's so swollen and busted up and it's so tender. But early in the fight, you know, had my leg compromised with those shin kicks.
And how about your face?
Who the hell throws shin kicks? I mean, calf kicks. Usually you're damaging the soft parts of the bodies, right? Like inside of the thigh, outside of the thigh, calf. Who goes shin on shin, man?
Have you ever experienced that? Or at least someone that did it that many times?
No, not that many times. The only person who's ever done it to me was Eddie Alvarez in the second fight. He went shin on shin once or twice, but then stopped because it's obviously damaging you as well. I haven't seen a report or spoke to Dan Hooker, but at the hospital, his coaches were saying that his foot was broken. He broke his foot on my shin. That's what his coaches said. I don't know if the x-rays came back and showed that, but he was damaged from throwing that kick.
Oh, wow. And is your face okay? Just like bruising and all that, but otherwise okay?
Yeah, I had a CAT scan on my face. Nothing's broken. Just a lot of bruising, you know. And I'm taking extra precaution with my brain, obviously. You know, I got hit a lot in that fight. Probably one of the most shots that I've taken, you know, most strikes that I've had landed against me in a fight, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because I was talking about this on Monday with DC. Just these fights are awesome, right? And you always want to win. But at any point, are you concerned that you're taking too much damage at this juncture in your career because you've been around for so long? Does this make you think at all?
Yeah, every time out, I'm the thing is, Ariel, I love this sport so much, but at the same time, I can't love it to where it kills me. Not to say that I'm gonna die in the octagon, but to where it takes a part of me that I can never get back in the future. And we don't know the long term effects. In 30 years from now, I might realize that I took too many shots. But right now, I'm just doing precautionary stuff. Taking a lot of fish oils, taking a lot of turmeric, CBD, lion's mane mushroom, not drinking alcohol. I didn't drink and party after the fight. I wanted to let my brain rest, and just trying to be smart, man, and be mature about the whole thing. Because, like you said, I've been doing this a long time. But that being said, I feel great. I never had any
Do you spar less leading up to the fights?
the last few years I've been sparring a lot less. I probably, but I get down, man. Yeah, I probably do 5 weeks instead of year round.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you mentioned being at the hospital. Dan Hooker did an interview earlier today with Submission Radio, and he talked about how you guys were just separated by a sheet, and I guess you like said, "Hey, Dan, is that you?" And then you sort of talked things out when you were there. What's your side of that story?
I didn't hear his interview, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. They rolled him in, and I heard him talking. I kind of heard an accent. I thought it was him next to me. He sounded like he was in a lot of pain, man.
I have two fighters that can't punch. He does this thing with his body which I call ramping. And the only way I can liken it to something is say if you're pushing a car, right? If you're pushing a car, you don't stand upright and just push with your arms. You lean into it. You push with your whole body. You dig in. You push your feet back behind you. Same thing if you're pushing an individual. If you have somebody stand and drive into you now and you push them with your weight, you'll find you can get much more of a drive if you move your feet back behind you. That's why I call it ramping, because if you look at the way that Dustin Poirier stands when he's throwing his power punches, his head is always where his feet are. He's always relying on the landing of the shots to stop him falling forward. So if I'm Dan Hooker and I'm thinking, right, I've got to deal with this very aggressive Dustin Poirier, I'm expecting someone with a torso that's leaning towards me like that he's going to be falling onto my shot. So I'm thinking knees up the center, and I'm thinking uppercuts up the center. I'm also thinking that I can feint him and draw him off balance as well if he's being overly aggressive. Obviously, there are benefits in why Dustin Poirier fights like this. The reason is because you can generate more power into your punches. If you walk up to a punch bag and you punch it full force, you want to swing at that punch, that bag with everything you've got and drive that punch around. And this is why when
Breaking fast, Big Sack?
Continue all of my upgrades. Ooh. Casually in the door.
On being the league leaders in all-time points.
This is Method Man of the Mighty Wu-Tang Clan. Chillin'. Jalen and Jacoby, man. They gave these dudes a show.
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David
What
Jacoby.
up,
We
yo?
are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that...
You know, we've seen cases explode once again. So, you know, it's not just the NBA. Obviously, you know, that's where we're all focused on because that's our, you know, our daily life until us going to play basketball. But, you know, this is a countrywide problem. It's not just in the bubble.
Day-Day, the NBA is going to put Black Lives Matter on each of the courts that the players are going to be performing on. Players are going to also be able to put personal messages on their jerseys. What are your thoughts on that, and do you feel like that's enough?
Well, I mean, it's never enough. You know, there's been issues going on regarding Black lives for, you know, hundreds of years. So it's never enough. But it's a step in the right direction, and I think, you know, I always rave about Commissioner Adam Silver, you know, and how great he is and how supportive he is of the athletes. Obviously, you know, there's no secret that, you know, the majority of players in the NBA are Black athletes. And so, you know, it's always appreciated that we get that support from the league. I think that's a step in the right direction, but we can't say it's enough, you know, just because of where we are as a culture.
Absolutely. Systematic racism does permeate throughout corporate America, which filters down through the NBA. If you were going to put a message on a jersey, what would you put? And also, if there are certain policies going forward that you hope the NBA would look to implement as it relates to the climate that we're dealing with right now, what are some of the things you would like to see done?
I'm not sure what my message will be on my jersey because I haven't had to think about that because I won't have a jersey anytime soon. But you know, I think it would. I think it would about as far as the NBA goes, I think to see more Black executives, to see more Black head coaches. We need to continue to see more Black owners, you know, own the teams in this league. You know, I think look at the landscape. Like I said before, there are predominantly Black athletes. One Black person in ownership of a team. You know, there may be a few GMs. I know that number started growing. A few Black head coaches. Those numbers need to be for the athletes. That's fine. We're going to continue to be great in that space, but other positions to move forward more Black as well.
I know it's a really long, lucrative media career waiting for him after he's retired if you want it. So I'm going to get him started early. Jalen has the Clippers winning the championship bubble. I have the Lakers winning the championship bubble. Who is your type of favorite?
I think going into the season and all season, look at it, I think they have someone that checks every box. Kawhi great size to watch. You know, they check out a lot. And you know, they have shooting, they have players, and they have everything that you need to be championship. However, I think they got to work on that. And I think he's probably the most disciplined player we've ever seen in the NBA. And that's going to matter going into this bubble. And so I think, you know, having LeBron on your team going into this bubble is a slight advantage.
I will never.
Three-time champion. Do you feel like this season will have an asterisk based on everything we're dealing with in the climate and having to go through the bubble in order to determine the champion?
I think it will. Got this in my championships. But he also got that one, the one where COVID was going on. So I think it'll definitely have that. But in saying that, perception, that's a fact. Like, that's all
A year ago today, a year ago today, Kevin Durant decided that he was going to play basketball in Brooklyn. He left the Golden State Warriors. How motivated are you guys to get back to a championship level like you were pre-KD?
I mean, we're always motivated to, talk to that. There's no added motivation. We compete. We're competitors, we're champions, and we're going to continue to try to raise our level right to that level in order to finish what we started. That started before KD, so it's not like, we need to kind of rally around this whole notion of KD's not here anymore. Like, we know what it takes to be champions. That's what we're doing.
So I've already predicted that the Warriors this season and next season will have the largest lead percentage in the history of the NBA. What are your expectations for the next season?
I don't think that's very far. That's never going to I don't care if you bring the same exact team back that you won a championship with the year before. Every year is different. Every year kind of takes on its own life of its own. So, I think we'll definitely be adding key pieces back in, and Steph and Clay, and also continue to build around them. We'll be healthy, and so that's important. We have a few young guys with more experience under their belt. So definitely looking forward to next year and returning to a high level of play. Hopefully we can come together and get the chemistry back right and push for another championship or two.
I think people need to start putting more respect on the Splash Brothers name. How dope is it to play with those guys?
It's extremely dope. Hayden, basketball. Guys like Steph and Clay, they're selfless. That's important in building a championship team. It's never all about them. And for me as a facilitator, I can't ask for two better guys to deliver the ball, trying to put the ball on top of the target, always going, put the ball in the right place, next to the shot. So I see the record it's always fun to play with those guys and the way they can do record defense. They'll have 2 or 3 guys chasing, and it's always fun seeing the guys turn to each other and start bickering.
Well, we've seen you bicker a bit on the sideline with some teammates and in the media with some prominent basketball media personalities. Do you think you've deserved your reputation as sort of an agitator?
I mean, I guess I don't really look to agitate people. I just kind of play on the sacrifice. Grow up on the basketball court. That's what you do. That's just a way of life, the way we grew up. So it's no getting me that's a sacrifice.
So I have a question. Talk about the Warriors and this leap that they're going to have between this season and next season. And it's no secret that you'll probably have a pretty good draft. And everyone's looking at James Wiseman and saying, ooh, how would Wiseman fit with the Warriors? But how do you think the process of James Wiseman?
I mean, I haven't seen much of him because I don't really basketball. But watching pretty open, pretty athletic guys. I don't really know. We'll see what happens. I know he's high up there. We'll see.
Thanks so much for joining the program. We will have podcasts. We'll be back.
Score 3-0. Switching sides. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
sure that I still want to participate, and I'm as enthusiastic as ever. Really fortunate enough to be a voter. And then they also say that they're going to calculate what happens in the bubble before determining the actual awards. So these 8 games matter, Jacoby. Yeah, these games
They're
matter.
gonna count those 8 regular season games and then send you a ballot.
Absolutely.
They're gonna take the whole playoff.
You're going to take what happened to 80% of the season that is already played. You're going to calculate the 8 games that happened in the bubble, and that's how you're going to get your regular season awards. I had Giannis slightly ahead of LeBron. Again, remember that final weekend, they beat the Bucks and they beat the Clippers, and Giannis was injured. LeBron was picking up steam. It's going to be interesting to see what throttle he's in those 8 games, but ultimately I feel like Giannis ends up securing the award.
So the Lakers, I believe, will end up as the #1 seed. Do you think even after that #1 seed is secured, LeBron knows that he is still very much in the MVP race? Do you think that will be in the back of his mind? Do you think LeBron goes down there saying, in these 8 games, I'm going to win over people like Jalen Rose and now have Giannis in the
Not at all, because it's going to be a close race. He ain't necessarily worried about that battle. He's worried about winning the award, and that's the championship. And so he will take regular season MVP. And again, it's going to be a dogfight to see who wins. But he's only getting on an airplane to try to win it all.
Jalen, I have a prescription for this problem. I'll give that to you in 2 minutes.
For your own safety, get behind the barrier. Priority
Jalen, KD for the Nets is not coming into Orlando to play. Kyrie Irving, all that, he's going to play. And then DeAndre Jordan tested positive, so he's not going to come down and play. Wilson Chandler wants to spend time with his family, so he's not going to come down and play. Spencer Dinwiddie just tested positive. He hasn't decided, but it's likely that he won't come down and play. We all know the Nets are really focused on next year, but it seems like they are so focused on next year, I have an idea. They should pass on the bubble. Jalen, what do you think about them? Just giving the Wizards their spot. Then the franchise is saying, we're not going to do it.
That doesn't make any sense. There's always something to be accomplished as an organization to play meaningful basketball. Our players aren't participating. AD was never an option. Just towards 24 months ago, Kyrie's been out all year, and the other guys have coronavirus. It makes sense that they're not going to be in the bubble. So there's still something to get accomplished by the other guys.
We will be back Thursday at 4. Right now, it's time
you.
for How the Press Quote Dan Levitar.
You are marching now.
has reached the checkpoint.
Welcome to Highly Questionable. Pablo Torre is laughing. Amy is smiling because she is wearing her camouflage. Katie Nolan is here celebrating the Patriots actually have a quarterback now.
Onwards to victory.
Get in here.
the NBA restart.
The things going on with the Nets this season have been crazy. This particular period, and they're now having to Gordon go out with coronavirus to add to the number of players that come back. All of that result in the Nets having to about the most disastrous situation they could have. But I'm here to remind you
What did you do? We give the people what they want. Back it off, Brian. Who are we? All right.
Yes, sir. Draymond, we have some breaking news today. The Nuggets have coronavirus positive test. There's about 16 players out of the 302 that were tested positive. How much concern is there about the virus in this bubble? And if you were going to go, would you go?
If I were going to go, yeah, I would go. Just to have the opportunity to play basketball. And saying that, I think there's a ton of concern, not only inside of the bubble, but in the country. We've seen cases explode once again. So, it's not just the NBA. Obviously, that's what we're focused on. That's our to play basketball. But, this is a countrywide problem. It's not just the bubble.
We're going to put Black Lives Matter in each of the courts that the players are going to be formally on. Players are going to also be able to put personal best on their jerseys. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's
but it's a step in the right direction. I always pray that how great he is, how supportive of black they are black athletes. So, it's always appreciated that we get that support from that's a step in the right direction. I can't say it's enough, just because of where we are as a culture.
Absolutely. Systematic racism does permeate throughout corporate America, which filters down through the NBA. If you were going to put a message on a jersey, what would you put? And also, if there's certain policies going forward that you hope the NBA looks to implement as it relates to the climate that we're dealing with right now, what are some of the things you would like to see done?
I'm not sure what my message will be on my jersey because I haven't had because I won't have a jersey anytime soon. But I think it would. I think it would possibly cause some organization that's pushing the cause for them supporting. As far as the NBA goes, I think we need to continue to see more black executives. We need to continue to see more black head coaches. We need to continue to see more black owners. Owning teams in this league. I think when you look at the landscape. Like I said before, there are predominantly black athletes, really pushing this league forward. But yet there's one black person in ownership of a team. There may be a few GMs, and I know that number is starting to grow. A few black head coaches, those numbers need to move forward. The athletes, that's fine. I mean, we're going to continue to be great in that space, but we need those other positions to move forward with more blacks as well.
That's a great point. Now, Draymond, I think you're going to have a long NBA career, but I know there's a really long and lucrative media career waiting for you after you're retired if you want it. So I'm going to get you started early. Jalen has the Clippers winning the championship in the bubble. I have the Lakers winning the championship in the bubble. Who is your title favorite right now?
I think going into the season and all season long, the Clippers were the favorite. Just when you look at their team, I think they have someone that checks every box. From a defender, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Patrick Beverly. When you're talking great size, Kawhi, Paul George, they check all the boxes. They can match up with any team well. And they have shooting. They have Montrez down low. They have everything that you need to have. However, I think going into this bubble, the Lakers guys will be the favorite. They got LeBron, that he can adjust to anything. And I think he's probably the most disciplined player we've ever seen in the NBA. And that's going to matter going into the bubble. So I think, having LeBron on your team
Three-time champion. Do you feel like this season will have an asterisk based on everything you're dealing with in the climate and having to go through the bubble?
And saying that, at the end of the perception at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, that's all someone's opinion. But when you look in those record books, it's going to say a champion and they won't have a shot. So it is what it is.
A year ago today, sorry, Jacoby. A year ago today, Kevin Durant decided that he was going to play basketball in Brooklyn. He left the Golden State Warriors. How motivated are you guys to get back to a championship level like you were pre-KD?
I mean, we're always motivated to, whether that's with KD or whether it's not. You know, there's no added motivation. You know, with him leaving, you know, we're competitors, we're champions, and we're going to continue to try to raise our level of play to that level in order to finish what we started. You know, and that started before KD, so it's not like, you know, we need to kind of rally around this whole notion of KD's not here. You know, and that's what we're going to rally around.
So I've already predicted that Warriors this season is now the largest in the history of the NBA. What are your expectations?
I don't think that's very far. That's never guaranteed. I don't care if we think the same. Every year is different. Life is its own. So, you know, I think we'll definitely be adding to that team. It's definitely playing also continue to build around them. You know, we'll be healthy, and so you know that's important. You know, have a few young guys and more experience under their belt. So, definitely looking forward to it. In terms of high level play and hold on, and you know, come together and get the chemistry back right, and you know, put more another championship.
I think people need to start putting more respect on the Splash Brothers name. How dope is it to play with those?
It's extremely dope.
Team up for special attack.
Basketball. You know, but then when you play with you guys like that, they're selfish. That's important. The team was never all about them. And you know, for me, as a facilitator, you know, I can't ask for two better guys. Deliver the ball under the basketball. All the way through. But if you put the ball in the right place, they can get a shot off. So, seeing the eruptions that they can go, you know, it's always fun to play with those guys. The way they can just wreck the defense, they'll have 2 or 3 guys chasing. And it's always fun seeing the guys turn each other around with them.
Well, we've seen you finger a bit on the sideline with some teammates and in the media with some prominent basketball media personalities. Do you think you deserve your reputation as sort of an advocate?
I mean, yes, I don't really agitate playing my game. I grew up on the basketball court. That's what you do. You talk junk. That's just a way of life.
So I have a question. Talk about the Warriors and this leap that they're going to have this season and next season. And it's no secret that you'll probably have a pretty high draft. Everyone's looking at James Wiseman and saying, ooh, how would Wiseman fit for the Warriors? So how do you think the prospect of James Wiseman?
I mean, I haven't seen much of him because he was on high school basketball, and we didn't get to see much of him at News. But you know, and watching it, I've seen some clips of his workouts and a couple of highlights. He looks to be pretty mobile, pretty athletic guy. So you know, with our speed and pace and the way we play, you know, I think he can definitely be a great add if that was the case. But I don't really know. You know, what pick we're going to get or what pick he's going to go. I am kind of a living testament of that. You just never know how the draft is going to go and how the cards may fall. So we'll see what happens. I know he's high up there. I know Anthony Edwards is high up there. LaMelo Ball. You got all those guys that everyone's talking about. So we'll see how it goes. But nonetheless, I think, you know, with whichever pick we end up with, we'll end up with a pretty good player. And, you know, hopefully we can enter the fold and continue to move forward.
Thank you so much for joining the program. We will have podcast exclusive content with Draymond Green, so make sure you listen to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.
Jalen and Jacoby is presented by Corona X.
Man, apocalypse.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I'm taking care of you.
Welcome back, Jalen. Jalen, you and I have been arguing about the MVP of the league ever since the league halted. You think Giannis, I think LeBron. Well, only one of us has an actual vote. So I'm going to ask you, have they communicated to you? What is the new plan for voting on the regular season awards?
Well, I look down at my email and they make sure that I still want to participate, and I'm as enthusiastic as ever. Really fortunate enough to be a voter. And then they also say that they're going to calculate what happens in the bubble before determining actual award. So these games matter, yeah, these games matter. Absolutely. You're going to take what happens to 80% of the season is already played. You're going to calculate the 8 games that happen in the bubble, and that's how you're going to get your regular season award. I had Giannis slightly ahead of LeBron. Again, remember that final weekend, they beat the Bucks and they beat the Clippers, and Giannis was injured. LeBron was picking up steam. It's going to be interesting to see what throttle he's in those 8 games, but ultimately I feel like Giannis can up during the week.
So the Lakers, I believe, will end up as the #1 seed. Do you think even after that #1 seed is secured, LeBron knows that he's still very much in the MVP race? Do you think that will be in the back of his mind? Do you think LeBron goes down in these 8 games, I'm going to win over people like Jason Rose that now have Giannis in the
Not at all, because it's going to be a close race anyway. He ain't necessarily worried about that battle. He's worried about winning the award, and that's the championship. And so he would take regular season MVP, and again, it's going to be a dogfight to see who wins it. But he's only getting on an airplane to try to win it all with Lakers.
Jalen, I have some concerning news about the Nets, and I have a prescription for the problem. I'll give that to you in just 2 minutes when we return.
Come over here.
My wrist tire is charging.
Play of the game.